Ooh, nice elevation, about 6,800 feet in the mountains of New Mexico, just south of the Capitan Range, the Captain Range. Ooh, look at this. Look. You got a nice, what you got here? What you got a soul in them? Except look at those stamens. See those stamens in the center? They look a lot different. I mean, it's certainly a Solanaceae. Might be a solanum, might be another genus. Got to key it out. But they look certainly a lot different from this, which is definitely a solanum. Look at all those fused anthers. Look at all those fused stamens right there. Huh? Then you get those prickles on the spine. This is a more cauline plant over here. Over here you got a more prostrate plant. Okay? Key differences to look at. I'm telling you all this shit because I don't know what the fuck this is. I know it's Solanaceae, but we're going to key it out later, right? So don't be a prick. You ever used the key before, jackass, huh? Or you just like looking at pretty pictures? You just like looking at the field guides where they got the nice pictures and it's all laid out and you don't have to learn to pay attention to detail. You don't got to learn what the aspects of the morphology to pay attention to. Anyway, here you got a nice, I'm pretty sure this is a silostrophe, but again, I might be talking out of my ass. It's certainly Asteraceae. It certainly looks like a silostrophe. Look at those petals. Look at those disc flowers. Well, that's kind of a shitty way to look at disc flowers. They're covered in it's kind of humid and they're covered in dust. Silostrophe though, probably silostrophe. Maybe silostrophe tagatina. Who knows? Oh, look over here. Look at this. You got a circium. You got a thistle, nice thistle. You like thistles, huh? You prick, I bet you do. They're real nice. They're real mean too. You're like real nice and mean. What else you got? What else you got? Here's a senna, but it's not flowering yet. It's that Senna romeriana. Look at those. It's a member of the Fabaceae, the pea family. See those two leaves? Two leaves? Pretty notable for that species. What else we got? Oh, we got a whole bunch of junipers being cleared because they suck up all the water. They suck up the water for the rangeland. They do actually, though, a little bit. I mean, I don't know. You know, I kind of like junipers, but they come back easy because you could just... You know, birds just eat the berries and then spread them around. They shit them out. I'm really on one today, aren't I? Yeah, that's what, you know, hanging around till noon and then drinking 500 milligrams of caffeine before... caffeine will do. Holy fuck. Look at this Asclepius. Oh. Could it be latifolia? Look at how glabrous it is. Look at that. Almost imbricate leaves right there. I think that's pretty nice. Don't you think that's nice? And then this over here is a xanthisma. I'm pretty sure it's a xanthisma. Gotta look that one up. Someone's blowing shit up. Oh, here's that circium in full effect over here. Ah, yeah. Epithelantha was the genus name I was trying to think of and couldn't because I was having pre-geriatric senility right there, but that doesn't matter anyway. We'll see that later. Anyway, here's that senna. Look at that senna. Ooh, romeriana. Fabaceae, sessile pinoid subfamily of the Fabaceae. How about that? Except it doesn't have trifoliate or bipinnate leaves or pinnate leaves. It's just got the goddamn, I guess just, what would you call that? Leaves in a two? Leaves, boomerang-shaped leaves? There's a word for that, but I can't think of it right now, nor do I give a shit, so don't feel the need to correct me in comment. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, here, look at this guy. Here's the thing I want to show you, because I don't know what it is, but the things I'm going to remember about it are, of course, look at that flower real quick. Look at the hairs on the stem. Look at a white corolla. Of course, that white corolla just might be a white morph. It could actually be a purple flower, but I got a feeling it's probably an actual white flower. There's the calyx right there. Calyx and corolla on an unopened flower. Look at that bud. Look at all those hairs. It's a diagnostic factor. You got somewhat, I guess, dissected leaves. Would you call it? You could call it dissected leaves, as opposed to being simple, well, it's a simple leaf. It's not compound. As opposed to being having a margin that's entire. You know, it's a dissected leaf. So well, I take a couple pictures of this, take 4 or 5 pictures, all the different aspects of the morphology, and then I'll go look in the flora later, and we'll key that shit out. All right? You want to get up under there, look at that, the pedestal that the flower's on? Huh? How about that? Look at that peduncle. I guess it's a peduncle. Pedestals are when it's a compound flower. It's more like a peduncle. Look at all those stamens, reflexed corolla. That's the type of shit you want to pay attention to. You might learn a little bit if you pay attention to shit like that. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. It's raining again. What's this? Could this be a verbicina? It certainly looks like it. Look at that involucre. Look at those phylaries. Diagnostic. I might be talking out of my ass. Of course, you got that phytomelanin, that black carbonized cypsela on the pigments right there. Ooh, now it's really coming down. Over here, you got Pectus angustifolia, a member of the marigold tribe. Real smelly. Smells pretty nice. Look at that. Looks almost like tagites. You know, the Mexican marigold, abuelita tea, what the Mexican grannies are always growing in their yard. Tagites has a lot of species in it. A lot of species in Mexico. And this is a relative of tagites. This is Pectus Angustifolia. Smells very pleasant. It's an annual. See? No woody stem. Just growing low to the ground. Oh, shit. It's coming down. It's coming down quite a bit. What's this guy over here? Oh, look, it's an astragalus. You'd know that pinnate leaf pattern anywhere, even without the flowers. Fabaceae, papillonoideae, or the Faboideae, whatever you choose. You know, if that's your thing, you can call it whatever. It's basically just a pea subfamily. Here's an interesting one. Thought it was a grandilia at first, but look at those goddamn imbricate leaves. It's not a grandilia. Plus, grandilias, when those buds are opening up, they have that white gummy stuff on top. That's why they're called gumweed. Real nice treatment for poison oak if you get poison oak on your ass. Have to key this out later, but I can't do it now because the book will get wet since it's raining. Ooh, one thing I forgot to mention about this this sunflower family member right here, which I'm pretty sure is a verbicina, but again, I might be full of shit. Got to key it out later. Is look at it. See how the seeds? Those are the achenes. That's important to pay attention to as far as diagnosing species later on. So you rip this little head off, okay? Shake out the seeds, and then I want to show you something here. See those little spiky bracts coming off that don't have any seeds on them? See that? Those are what's known as pele, and they're basically receptacular bracts. So they're bracts that are on the receptacle, and they're diagnostic for many members of the sunflower family, as far as, you know, determining what the hell species you're looking at. There's even a species in Mexico, or a genus rather, called Montanoa that uses those pele as a wind dispersal mechanism. Basically, it turns the whole flower head into one giant golf ball sized wind dispersed seed head that then gets caught on the winds and the thermals and shit and the steep slopes of the cloud forest where it grows, and then carries the seed off. This is nice over here too. Look, it's a species of Datura. This might be Quercifolia, named after Quercus, the oaks, because it's kind of oak-leaved. There's the seed head right there. Variations on a theme. It's not Datura wrightii anymore. Though maybe you do get that out here. You got a species of Physalis, another Solanaceae. Same family as that Datura. It's got these little paper lantern shits under here. What are they at? See those? Many species of Physalis are edible, but it's basically a berry that's contained within this little papery bract thing. And then I believe once it's mature, that berry turns yellow. Looks like a little tomato. Oh, mullen. Gotta rip this bastard out. Oh. Always make it a point to do that. Look at all this Pectus Angustifolia all over the ground. See the yellow? Ooh, there it is. It smells so nice. It's so good. Ah! Holy shit. Take one of these home with you. Just rub your fingers on it. It smells pretty good. Everything in the Tagidae tribe of the Asteraceae smells so nice. Ah. Oh, yeah, there you go. With the hand lens, you can properly see those scales on the leaflets of this Astrolepis cochisensis. Do you see them? You see those little stellate hairs? Oh, yeah. That's pretty nice. Then you flip it over. Flip it over and look at that. Look at those sporangia. See how the sporangia are clustered around the edge of the leaflet, i.e. the margin? That's a trademark of Pteridaceae, this family. This is one of my favorite goddamn families of ferns. This is the Zurich Ferns. And see how since the sporangia are around the margin, sometimes on some of these different genera, you get those leaf margins, the edges curling over, and that's what kind of protects the developing sporangia, which then, of course, release those microscopic spores. Look at how scaly and hairy that stem is, too. That central rachis, that purple thing, the red thing. What a wonderful goddamn plant, huh? Astrolepis is a desert fern. They got a lot of different species in there. Cochisensis, Hamii, sinuata, what the shit? A lot of them in Mexico and in the Southwest. Oh, yeah, look at that. You could see why Astrolepis is so charismatic. Just popping out of the limestone. Look at it. Looks like a goddamn coral or something, huh? Who knows how long ago this was at the floor of an ocean, huh? This pinyon juniper with a smattering of rock outcrops with the limestone. Who doesn't love a nice limestone rock outcropping, huh? So here's that Felusia paradoxa, rose family, Rosaceae. You can confuse this with Persia, but when you flip that leaf surface over, okay, you can see the hairs on the underside are yellow, not white. If they're white, you might be looking at Persia. And of course, the leaves look a lot like Persia too, but there's just, you know, minute differences in lobes and dentation, etc. and what the shit. More of that beautiful Astrolepis fern going off. Got a nice species of Ipomea, Convolvulaceae. Got a nice onion here too. How about that? You like the onions? Nice pinyon pine. And then over here, we got a nice Mammilaria just hiding out. Probably Mammilaria meicantha. Meicantha, however you pronounce that. M-E-I. Pretty interesting. That's a nice one, isn't it? Nice. Looks like a Houstonia. It could be a Stenaria, too. Both in Rubiaceae. See those 4 united petals? Actually, that might be a Stenaria. Yeah, that might be a Stenaria. And then just all native bunch grasses up top with a smattering of choyas, junipers, and pinyon pines. Oh, look at that. Nice circle carpus, Rosaceae. Got junipers, pinyon pines. Anyway, so the whole human concept of what exactly a species is can be a little tricky to draw a box around at times. You know, the whole taxonomic unit, whether it's species or genus or family, can be a, you know, kind of a plastic thing. How do you really define one? What constitutes a species? This has been something that botanists and, you know, I mean all biologists, but especially botanists have been arguing about for a long amount of time. And it's namely because, you know, plant species can hybridize really easily. So if you're trying to say that what constitutes a species is basically the notion of 2 populations of organisms being able to bang and produce fertile offspring, that's a little bit finicky because, you know, 2 different species, and this happens a lot in the plant world, can often hybridize and produce another plant. Sometimes the plant is sterile, sometimes it is not sterile, in which case it runs the risk of turning into a new species. So the idea that basically a species is based around the idea of 2 populations to share genes successfully is, you know, it's a little sketchy. Another species concept says that basically a species is just an accumulated set of responses that organism has acquired over time in response to its ecology or selective pressure that it's been subjected to at present or in the past. And I kind of like that one because it basically just says, you know, form follows function, whether that's to hide or hunt down prey in the case of animals, or whether that's to compensate for your loss of nitrogen or your low nitrogen soil by eating bugs. And, you know, a lot of the cryptic cacti show this response to environment very well. That is, they're very good at background matching. And one of the species that seems to do this so utterly well is this plant that I'm going to show you right here, Epithelantha micromeris. Now, can you see it down there? Can you see it down there anywhere? Maybe? Just have a good Warriors Waldo moment. Do you see it down there? Do you see it down there? Do you see that? Oh, yeah. How about that? Epithelantha micromeris, everybody. And it's surprising to me to be seeing it in a pinyon juniper woodland, because the only other place I've seen this plant, though it grows in both Arizona, Texas, and it even grows, obviously, here in New Mexico, is in open desert. But here it's growing amongst circle carpus and pinyon pine and juniperus. at an elevation of about 6,500 feet. Now, here's another guy. And this is the first one that I seen today, actually, because it sticks out, obviously. The limestone that it's on happens to be a little bit darker than the plant itself. Now, again, this is, I believe, Permian limestone. It's rather old. It's not your typical Cretaceous limestone, you know, that is about 70, 80 million years ago. It's much older. There's a little guy going off. So anyway, I seen this and I said, holy shit, that's Epithelantha micromeris. And let's look around for more. And then I found some more over there. And then I promptly lost them again and had to spend 5 minutes re-looking for them, trying to re-find them. Because they just blend in so goddamn well. Obviously, this one doesn't, because he's, you know, on top of the limestone right there. But when they're doing that soil recessing thing that the peyote and Ariocarpus do, you could really see they're very hard to keep track of. And you could just lose them so fast. So basically what you got going on is, remember, cacti are just stems and spines are just modified leaves. So you just got basically a short globose stem, that whole succulent body of that cactus, just covered in radial spines. No central spines, at least not that I could see. We'll look up there with the handlings later on. But it's just radial spines. And again, they just seem to serve the purpose of being cryptic and hiding, helping this plant hide amongst this light-colored limestone talus that it grows on, and that it's probably been restricted to ever since its inception as a species, whenever it emerged as a species, however many millions of years ago. And again, that's just, you know, a series of selective pressures over an immense amount of time that has caused this plant to look like this. And you only see it growing on limestone. I don't think there's any records of this bastard growing on volcanic rock. Obviously, he's not going to do too well on pink rhyolite. Anything that wants to eat him, any conejos and shit, are going to see him sticking out, you know, like a whore in church, you know? No offense to whores again. I don't know why I keep using that metaphor. I'm really sorry. You know, I really have nothing against whores. I just think it's kind of a funny... Anyway, before I dig myself into a deeper hole, let's just see if we can find any more of them. Oh, yeah. There you go. There's some more of them. See these guys? Just blending in perfectly. Just like Ariocarpus scapharostris, Piniocereus, any of the Piniocereus. You know, one of those tall, really elongated stick cacti. Good luck finding those when they're not in flower. Or else you got the, you know, Echinocereus poselgri down there in Texas does the same thing. You know, a whole lot of different species of cacti in different genera do this. They basically, you know, they lack spines. They're not too mean in the spines department, but what they lack in spines, they make up for in the background matching and the ability to just be cryptic and hide out, you know, and just go unnoticed by anything that might want to eat them. And it works very well for them, you know. And then when this thing flowers, when it's in flower and fruit, you know, flowers at the apex, when it's in fruit, you got a little chili pepper shaped thing, maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch long. It comes out that apex, you know, very conspicuous. Bright red fruit, looks like a little chili pepper, like I said, you know, so that the little tiny mammals and birds and shit will come up to it, nibble on it. They're just going for the flesh, and then in doing so and eating the flesh, they drop the little black poppy seeds. You know, this specific subfamily of cacti, the seeds just look like little black poppy seeds. You know, same for Mammilaria, same for peyote, etc. Just like look like little black poppy seeds. You know, they drop in a... So nothing's going to eat those little black poppy seeds because they're too hard to see. They don't look like anything. You know, and then if everything goes according to plan, those seeds get dispersed, you know, and then the next time you get some rains and some warmth, boom, you got a new plant growing up. Who's that Astrolepis? I love the goddamn Astrolepis. Then over here, you either got a Stenaria, it's a rubiaceous thing again, coffee family, either a Stenaria or a Houstonia. I think it's Stenaria. Nice buckwheat, too. Nice Eriogonum. Then over here, you got this little guy, too. Look at this guy. It's like that Mammilaria again. Look at those prominent tubercles. Look at those prominent nipples. I mean, okay, let me put his little rock back on top of him so he can be cryptic, too. And again, we're at about 6,000 feet here in a pinyon juniper woodland. You know, south central New Mexico. It really turned into a lovely day, didn't it? Oh, you got some little shrub oaks up there. Shrub oaks, mountain mahogany, the Cercocarpus, got a junipers. And then, of course, you got your substrate here, that Permian limestone. Hey, look at that oak. I think this is the tallest it gets. I don't think these are seedlings. I think they're stunted because this hard pan-ass soil is too hard for them to, you know, go deeper down in. I think this is it. I think this is as good as it gets. Pretty oak, though. What do the leaves look like? They're a little bit scabrous. Maybe they got a little bit of indumentum on there. They got a little bit of fuzz on both sides, and they're kind of blue. A nice cow patty. And then there's just, you know, Astrolepis scattered about, Epithelantha, micromeris scattered about, probably passed over, I don't know, 40 of them, you know, not including the ones I didn't see. It's kind of fun, you know. You either look like a kid at an Easter egg hunt when you're looking for small, rare cacti that are very cryptic, or you're like a crackhead that's looking in the gutters for something that they dropped. You know, you see those guys in the Tenderloin a lot, you know, just kind of like lone urchins staring at the ground. Oh my God, there's quite a few here. There's another one. There's another one. They're doing really well. And it's kind of cool because, you know, this place is ridden with cattle, but of course the cattle aren't going to have any effect on these guys. Oh yeah, look, there's one with a fruit. See that guy with a fruit? See him? He's got a little fruit. So the mice will nibble on that and take it off. Run off with it, eat the flesh, drop the seeds. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, tell him he's really good at hiding. You're so good at hiding. You're so good at hiding. How do you do that? You're so good at hiding. Fucking circle carpus is going off. Rosaceae. Okay, so this is pretty weird. So I seen this guy and I said, look at those dissected leaves. What could that be? But it appears to be a bush. And it smells pretty good. You know, it does. It smells pretty good. Looks almost like an ambrosia. Probably Asteraceae. What could it be? And it's the only one I've seen. I haven't seen any others around here. So, you know, my curiosity's already kind of perked. And then I see, oh, look at this. It's blooming. It's flowering right here. And then I get closer and look at it. And it appears to be a Parthenium. What the shit? It's a species of Parthenium. Which, of course, is a genus, you know, from the Midwest. If you pay attention to the stuff out there, you get a lot of Partheniums in Mexico. In fact, I believe that's where most of the diversity is in Parthenium, down there in Mexico. But I didn't know that there was a fragrant one that's essentially a shrub. So it's either a Parthenium or a close relative. Look at those 5 ligules. Pentagonal flowers with 5 ligules, 5 rays, 5 little daisy rays. That's what the Parthenium are notorious for. Pretty goddamn interesting. How about that? Oh yeah, and then how about that? So then as I'm looking at that Parthenium, I look over here, and something's stinging me. I assume it's an insect, but no, it's a plant. It's a species of Tragia in the Euphorbiaceae, the poinsettia family, and it's got tons of little stinging hairs on it. You can actually see any of those. Kind of a bastard plant. Yeah, it feels kind of like a mosquito and a bee sting all at once. Well, look, there's a real nice one. He's sinking into the ground. I'm sorry, I don't mean to assume your gender. She, maybe a she, could be a she, who knows. About the size of a penny. So cryptic. If you don't love cryptic cacti, you're an asshole. Looks like it's gonna rain again. You know? Just like it was dumping earlier. I was keying out asters in my truck. You know? Like a wingnut out here by myself. Didn't see anybody else. The entire drive out here. And it beat the shit road. Should probably get out of here just in case the road gets washed out on the way back. It wasn't in too good a shape coming out. What do you think's growing up there? It looks kind of nice, doesn't it? Doesn't it look nice? So this guy right here, I believe this is Quercus havardii, and this is basically a low-growing shrub oak. It's, if you could even call it a shrub. It's almost a subshrub. Doesn't get taller than 3 or 4 feet. Forms a thicket. You know, the individual shoots will only live for upwards of 20 years and die back, but the whole root system, The whole underground root system just keeps cloning itself. And the root system itself, the actual individual plant, can live upwards of thousands of years, 1,000, 2,000 years. I think there's a different species of shrub oak in Riverside County down in Southern California that's been alive thousands of years, you know. But the above ground tissue has not, of course. It's clonal, you know, just like creosote. So it's not technically the longest living tree or plant in the world. But you know, the actual root itself is quite long-lived, you know. Bristlecone pines, of course, are the longest-lived tree in the world. That is, the above-ground tissue stays the same. But, you know, and these shrub oaks do this because it's an adaptation to living in the hot and dry, right? So if it gets, you know, conditions are looking nice, they don't get rain for a while, they just die back. You know, the plant's still alive, but the above-ground tissue dies back, and then once the conditions improve, you know, it cools off a little bit, they get some moisture, then it just sends up another sprout and goes on its merry way for another 1,000, 2,000 years. Yeah, there's so many here, just hiding amongst the rocks, you know? So what came first? Did the thickening of the density of the spines, was it first a reaction at the heat stress? Was it the benefit of, because obviously you got a thick white covering of those hairs, it's going to reduce the amount of sun that hits your epidermal tissue. Your epidermal tissue is going to stay a lot cooler when the ambient temperature is, you know, 100 degrees, say. It's going to be easier to maintain photosynthesis. You're not going to get too hot. Did that come first, or was it just a byproduct that I happened to blend in so nicely with the rest of this limestone talus, you know? Or did it just, was it two different kinds of selective pressures that just, you know, worked on it so well that you end up producing this kind of form, you know? Just basically a thick coat of radial spines, so white, you blend in and you reduce that the amount of heat coming in. Either way, it seems to be working well for it. Beautiful plant, wonderful plant. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Go fuck yourself, bye.